So now we've heard about a lot about the Republican tax plans during this election cycle. Obviously, people want to know, what are you going to do? How are you going to do the tax system? What are you going to cut? And whose taxes are you going to raise or lower? Well, now they all claim, all the Republican candidates claim that their plans are going to be awesome, fantastic, tremendous. We're going to have so many jobs. They're going to be great jobs. They're going to be well-paying jobs. They're going to get the government out of the way, et cetera, right? Now, for one, they all claim that their plans will reduce the deficit, create jobs, and grow the middle class. However, according to a new study, these plans would actually do the opposite. Now, what study am I referencing? Well, it's according to a study done by the Citizens for Tax Justice. Now, according to them, most Americans would actually be worse off under these plans put forward by the Republican presidential candidates. How bad? Well, first of all, they looked at three of the candidates. They did not look at John Kasich's plan. They looked at Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Ted Cruz's plan, and found that each of these plans would actually cost about $10 trillion over 10 years. Or I mean trillions of dollars over 10 years. Sorry about that. As a result, the candidates' tax plans would actually lead to spending cuts and tax increases, according to this report. Quote, as this report shows, when those inevitable spending cuts and tax increases are taken into account, the vast majority of Americans will end up as big losers. Who will win? The rich. They always win when it comes to Republican tax plans. Remember, a lot of these tax cuts will go to corporations. Most of these people want to eliminate corporate taxes. That's insane. When they don't pay their taxes, when corporations, businesses, and rich people don't pay their taxes, who does? That's you. You at home. Now, the Citizens for Tax Justice analysis assumes the candidates' tax cuts for the rich, by the way, would be paid for by equally cutting spending and raising income taxes across the board in a move that would be similar to what happened after Ronald Reagan cut taxes in 1981. Now remember, he cut taxes for the rich, but he cut them so far and was spending so much that he had to raise taxes again. Under the Citizens for Tax Justice's model, each person would see the same dollar cost from the spending reductions, while tax increases would be allocated based on the overall personal income distribution, the group said. Without considering offsets, CTJ estimates that the tax plans from Donald Trump and Rubio would cut taxes for all, though they would cut taxes the most for the wealthy. However, only the top 5% of taxpayers would actually receive a net benefit from any of the plans. So understand, yes, it would cut your taxes, but all the other cuts they would have to make to actually pay for the tax cuts for the richest Americans would only benefit the richest Americans, the top 5%. That's terrible. Taxpayers in the bottom 20% would actually have a net income loss of $2,541 under Trump's plan and a net loss of $1,563 under Rubio's plan once the pay-fors of tax increases and the spending cuts are considered. That sounds pretty terrible, and it is. Now, it's actually worse when you look at Ted Cruz's plan. Now, the group estimates that Cruz's tax plan would increase taxes on those in the bottom 3/5 of income, even without considering pay-fors. When the impact of future spending cuts and tax increases are taken into account, only those in the top 20% would receive net benefits. Taxpayers in the bottom 20% would receive net income losses of $6,234, according to the report. There you have it. The Republicans, all of these plans, would stick it to the poor while giving massive tax breaks to the top 20%. Now, if you are a poor person voting for a Republican, you are voting against your own economic interests. These plans are based on dreams and fairy dust. No, don't worry, it'll all trickle down. We just have to give a few more tax cuts to rich people, cut government regulations, and then don't worry, it'll all trickle down. It'll all trickle down. Right now, we have the top 10th 1% has almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. I got to ask, okay, guys, when's it going to trickle down? When is it going to trickle down? You have to have as much wealth. Does the top 1%, 0.1%, have to have as much as the bottom 95% for you to be happy, or the bottom 99%? Will you be happy then? The truth is, look, we've done this, right? We've cut taxes for the rich, and we've been waiting for it to trickle down. And guess what? It kind of has been. It's been trickling all over our heads when the rich just piss all over us. The truth is, we've been R. Kelly'd for the last 30 years. And the current GOP wants to just do more of it with these ridiculous plans. Look, trickle-down economics does not work. Giving tax cuts to the rich does not create jobs. Working class voters, if you're listening, stop voting against your own economic interests. Stop voting in favor of rich people. You're not going to be rich. You are not a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. It's not going to happen. However, you do stand a good chance of making it into the middle class if you actually vote for people who care about your economic well-being and not about making their donors richer.